Hello, and welcome to CLEA'S World. I am Clea, and today I would like to share with you more of the information I've received from the 25th dimension during my last BQH hypnosis session. I'll be reading from a transcript of the session, and when I refer to Lorrayne, I'm speaking to my practitioner who's asking me questions I prepared in advance of the session, and when I refer to me, I'm referring to myself under hypnosis. This is Tommy saying hi. See his little head bobbing up. So referring to myself under hypnosis, which means the answers are coming from the 25th dimension. Before I start reading, as always, I'd like to thank you for subscribing, liking, and commenting on this video. I love reading your comments. Even if you're just stopping by and saying hi, it just makes me happy. So I love our community. It's a very positive, high vibration community, and it always gives me joy to interact. So thank you so much. I am going to start reading here. And the first question is about something that I have gone through a couple of years ago where I was really, really sick for a week and it didn't make sense to me. I knew there was something going on. It wasn't because of the famous flu, because I don't quite believe that it works the way that many say that it works. I don't believe that at any rate, whatever the case might be. So I want to read the question to you. So Lorrayne, okay, since Clea doesn't believe in the famous flu, and neither do I, she would like to know what happened when in 2020 she had fever and flu-like symptoms for a week for the first time since she was 17. Was she clearing? Me. Yes, so of course, Claire thinks of all these things as clearing, and of course, they all are clearing. It's always our body dealing with the energy, whether you want to believe it's some bacterium or food poisoning or whatever it is. You really are just processing a code of some kind. You're processing energy of some kind. So in this case, yes, of course, she was clearing. So the question, though, is, was she having the famous flu? Or the question that Claire wanted to know, she doesn't believe in the famous flu, but that was a very strange occurrence. Why did it happen? And it happened because we're clearing for everybody. So she actually felt some of the symptoms. Of course, there are people who are having this and are thinking, oh, it's got to be the famous flu. And you guys know what I'm talking about. I just cannot say the actual word. Whereas all of it is always clearing underneath. And then you can give it the reason, the 3D excuse. You can call it whatever you want. And so, no, she did not. I mean, if she had believed in the famous flu, she could have clearly said, yeah, I had it. The truth is, we don't know, right? Even these tests are useless. And they were laughing. And so nobody really knows if they've had the flu. And again, another instance where you just have to believe. Now, some people, in order to make themselves believe, they prop up their belief by saying, I got tested. We know, even at a scientific level, 3D level, as 3D as a guess, these tests do not find whether you have this flu or not. It is impossible. Even the inventor of the test, for example, said it should never be used for viruses. This is one reason why a lot of scientists don't believe viruses exist, because truly there is no test to detect them. But so again, you can go back and forth. It doesn't matter. The point is, it's an idea, and therefore it's not black and white. The reason what Clea was doing, she was clearing, and she was clearing right after this all started because she was dealing with a lot of emotional upheaval, because she was very angry. She was very angry that this was happening. She felt very trapped, and therefore her body, basically, it took her down. Her body took her down for a week. She could barely get off the couch to recalibrate. It's what happened. And I'm glad I asked this because I don't know how you stand on whether that is real, as real as anything gets here or not. But I don't believe it. But even if I did believe it, that just seems, again, we like, our higher self likes to latch onto things. So this feels real. But truly, I wanted to know what was going on in the background. I have not had fever since I was 17 years old and I was on my exchange program, student exchange program in the United States, coming from Italy. So I don't get sick very easily. And again, fever is like a weird thing for me. And all of a sudden I have fever. I'm like, and I could have easily believed it was, what was going around or whatever it is, except that it just didn't feel right to me. It didn't feel so simple. And so I'm glad I asked this. Hopefully this is helpful to you as well, just to put stuff in perspective, whether it is about this particular thing that some like to believe and some don't, or anything else of that nature. All right, Lorrayne, it's all predictive programming. A few years ago, there were very few cases of shingles, and then they started running ads and telling people they had it. And now all of a sudden, everybody has shingles. Same thing with cancer and other things. They insert the idea into the game, and then all of a sudden it's widespread. Same with the famous flu. Me. Absolutely, you are correct. And what happens is that the higher self is always looking for ways to keep you in the game. And so now you hear about cancer. Well, what better trigger than cancer to help you with a lot of changes or realizations that your higher self wanted for you? For example, in Clea's case, that's exactly what happened. She decided, yeah, I'm going to do this thing. I'm going to get cancer, and I'm going to do that at the same time as all this other crap that's happening. And they were laughing at a 3D level, and it's going to awaken me. And here we are. So yes, absolutely. You're absolutely right. They create, basically you hear the higher self catches on this idea, says, well, that feels very real. Shingles, man, that sounds very real. Let me use that to do whatever it is that I want to experience. We already said a lot of the ideas here are low vibrational. So of course they show up as shingles, cancer, bad stuff, right? Now the famous flu. But you have to believe that. No, you don't. The problem is a lot of people, this is all we have available here. So a lot of people will pick the famous flu, cancer, or shingles. It's all the same in terms of what the higher self is wanting to experience. It's all the same. It doesn't matter which one it is. Lorrayne, it's an energy wave that moves through the population. Me, well, it isn't. We would like to specify this because you said it's an energy wave. There is no energy wave that moves through because we're all always dealing with the work we do, we choose to do. There is no energy outside of us that we have to be subject to. So therefore, it's not something that happens, almost like in Contagion, and I'm referring to the movie, with something that happens and therefore it affects you. So we know that you didn't mean it that way, but we do want to specify because there is no energy wave that moves through or that is out there. So it just happens that the higher self decides, I want to be in the game, and look, this new idea, that sounds novel. Let's do something new, maybe to entertain myself, because the entertainment has been so crappy here on this planet. That sounds like a good idea all of a sudden to get shingles, right? Even with this other thing that we're going to spring on us, which I cannot say the name of, but I call it the simian pocus, that flared out very quickly. It didn't last very long because it wasn't as entertaining. We already had the famous flu. It's weird. Ourselves are really weird sometimes, let me tell you. Lorrayne, when I said energy wave, I really meant just an idea that moves through our higher selves awareness. Me, correct. That's exactly right. Lorrayne. Okay, Mel has been sick for 3 weeks and she believes it's the famous flu. Claire would like to know what is happening with the people that are experiencing this. Me. Okay, so again, it's an idea. So therefore, you can believe it's the famous flu or not, and that's perfectly fine. What the body's going through, though, is the body's always clearing for you. And so it's always showing you where you are emotionally and mentally. Now, we know that Mel, for some reason, she believes, which is perfectly fine, she believes that she has to be conscious or aware of certain realities out there. And this is the way that she's doing the work. So that's perfectly acceptable. But because of this is really putting her body under a lot of stress. And why is this happening? Because she has a lot of very strong emotional responses to this. She scares herself. She absorbs all this fear. She absorbs all these, what we would consider negative, scary news. Like she was doing when she was looking at information about this thing all the time, or injuries very specifically. And now she's working on intelligence. What is intelligence? We already said these are NPCs. None of this is real. Not only they're talking about doing things, all any NPC is doing is what we, with an essence, are deciding they're going to be doing. That's it. Nobody's calling the shots outside of us. These NPCs are just holograms. But she feels she wants to be outside of herself. This is the way that she gets outside of herself. And of course, she's seen this. You see her higher self is making it clear to her what she's doing, but she doesn't want to know. She doesn't want to see it. So she's not putting two and two together. What she's doing is she's saying, my higher self wants me to focus on intel and I'm getting the famous flu. There is no famous flu if she doesn't believe in it. She wants to believe in it. Why? Do you see? She's doing the same thing all of us are doing because we are working on all of this and it's very emotional and we are wanting to shield ourselves. So she's running through 3D reality. What's more 3D than Intel, really? Intel is just the other coin on mainstream television. I mean, what's more 3D than that? It's all made up, basically. They were laughing. And so she runs to Intel because she wants to stay in the game. She wants the shell going. She really badly wants the shell going, just like the rest of us. She's not doing anything wrong or anything we're not doing. And then because there are consequences to wanting to believe so badly in the shell, she's clearing this way. But now this helps her say, you see, this 3D reality is very real. It's still very real. Look, I'm getting the famous flu. And why does she know that she got the famous flu? Why does she believe that? She went to get a test. Whereas we are sure in the Intel community, she saw a million times that these tests don't work. And this is a scientific fact. These tests cannot tell you whether you have anything. They can't even tell you if you have the flu. So do you see what she's doing? She wants to keep the shell in place, which is exactly what all of us are doing. So there's nothing wrong with her. But unfortunately for her, she's dealing with this in a way that's very inconvenient, very painful to her. That leaves her very emotionally upset. And of course, we're not happy to see this, but it is her choice. She is a free essence. And just like you, for example, putting the sinuses on yourself and referring to Lorrayne, it's a choice. It's how we individually believe. And again, we use the word individually to express ourselves. There's no individuality. But this is how you individually believe. This is how you can handle what's going on. And because we are handling a lot, there is a lot going on. Each one of us is just doing the best we can. And it's unfortunate, and we are sad for Mel that she's putting herself through this suffering. We already said there are many people who are suffering and wanting to leave, and still they want to be here and not let go of the suffering because they don't want to let go of the shell. So we understand it's not easy. But of course, this is not going to last forever. And Mel is moving on to New Earth with us. And so she will also get, because we already said, all of us are evolving at a conscious level. It's all sinking in. By the time we leave here, it's going to sink in for a lot more people that we create everything. And so there will be some evolution, just like there has been for Clea. And for you, for example, since we started connecting. There will be some evolution there too. And she won't feel the need to subject herself or to have to go to such low vibrational things to keep herself in the game. It's the same thing we talked about in the last session with Claire, where we said, if good things were happening, what she considers to be good, positive things, she would know, oh, I'm making this happen. Whereas what she considers to be bad surprises going on, bad things, then she says, I couldn't have possibly done that. That's so low vibration. So clearly somebody outside of me is targeting me or is doing this to me. And this is exactly what's happening with Mel. She's creating very low vibrational realities for herself because she's trying to keep this real. She's trying to believe in 3D. And I feel it. I have created all kinds of crap for myself in the past many months, at least since September. So now I'm trying to get over it in the sense of now that they've told me how it works and why we're doing this. Of course, I'm trying to say, well, I create the negative stuff as well. So hopefully things are subsiding. But I get it. We are desperate to keep the shell in place. And so, and I mean, the choice of options here is generally very low vibration. It's just the way it is. So, all right, Lorrayne. Liz Truss resigned after only 1 month of being UK Prime Minister. And she did so a half hour before damage meeting. Basically, there was a meeting where they were going to discuss damages from this thing. What's going on? So we know what is going on. This is a shell, and therefore the dark is doing our bidding, and we are moving forward with the recall. So whoever needs to fall on the way for us to get there, that's what's going to happen. So we already said Liz Truss was not going to be as dark as Boris Johnson. We are not supporting that anymore. But you see how quickly we're getting stuff done here, because now all of our focus is on this thing, which is the recall. Everything is getting energized. So if you're against it, you're just going to have to fall by the wayside. And of course, the people who are left behind, Liz Truss is gone, or Essence is gone. But the people who are even on the side of the dark, who are helping us with this, they also will bend in the face of, again, the intention has been set. And so while they keep throwing stuff at us as if everything is the same as usual, nothing is the same as usual. We already said the polarity here is pretty much balanced now. This is unheard of. We haven't done this in a long time. And the fact is, you can feel it. When you stop, you can feel it. And because of that, yeah, everything is going according to plan. That's why she pulled out. Now they already elected somebody else. They're just throwing bodies at the problem because we want to keep the show going. So we need a body in place. But I mean, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who it is. It doesn't matter what they do. Love that answer. Hope you enjoyed it. Lorrayne, on that note, Clea says, now Rishi Sunak, I don't know how you pronounce this name, I really couldn't care less, has become the new UK Prime Minister. He has Indian heritage. Is he being sacrificed? And I wrote sacrifice in quotes, meaning he's just, again, the next body thrown at the problem. They don't care what happens to him. And will he last? Me. They were laughing. That's a good choice of words, sacrifice, because that's what they do. Yeah, of course, he's just the next body being thrown at the problem. He's nobody. Like, they don't think of him as indispensable. But yeah, on the surface, it all looks fine. So is he being sacrificed in that sense? No, they're hoping this one works out. We didn't like the white woman. Now we have an Indian man. Let's see if that one goes. I mean, they're just throwing spaghetti at a wall, hoping that something sticks. It makes no difference to us who's there. Yes, it's not going to last that long because none of these governments are. They're barely keeping themselves in place. We're not super interested. We want a shell in place. We're definitely interested in governments not collapsing completely, never to be seen again. But we're not really interested in these people. They're just tools that we use. So yeah, it won't last that long either. Lorrayne, thank you. Okay, this tool, she was laughing. Rishi Sunak is married to a software fortune heiress who went to school with, and this is a friend of mine, we'll just call him Mo. Mo says she's a good person. Is this true? Me. Yeah, so the reason Clea is bringing this up is because she knows people like Mo, and they look like normal people to her. And so she has trouble wrapping her mind around the fact that all these people who are in power would be worshippers of, let's call it the other side of God, if there was another side of God, which there isn't, or operators of rituals, we'll say that, or whatever it is. And so what she's asking is it true that this is a normal person? Not good necessarily, but is it true that she's a normal person? Because she thinks of Mo as being a normal person, even though Mo has plenty of issues from a 3D perspective, what we would call, narcissistic traits, etc. Basically, what Clea thinks of when she thinks of her ex-husband. But so is he doing, I can't say this, but basically, is he doing these rituals that involve abuse on small people? He's not. Now, is this woman a good person? Sure, she's a good person, just like in the way that we think of good, which is, again, it means nothing. It just means that in this case, she wasn't necessarily being part of the rituals. Now, she's had two sins. She's had two as they put their bid in, as her husband was climbing. Basically, they were pushing him in front. You have to do this, because if you don't do this, they have nothing against you. They will not put you in certain positions of power. So she's had to compromise too, because it's either that or you're out. And not only if you're at a certain level where you know what's going on, they might take you out physically because they cannot have you be a threat to them. And so, yeah, she's had to do a lot of things, and she's in the UK too. So we know how dark that has been. She's been hobnobbing with people like Prince Charles, and I know he's not Prince anymore, but again, who cares? And so unfortunately, yes. So was she a good person, meaning a normal person? Yes, just like Mo is a good person, what we consider, of course, good. We're talking about ascended masters here, but we're talking from a 3D perspective. And so in that sense, yes, but she's not the same person that she was. I thought this was interesting. I wanted to share with you because not only have you been watching what's been happening in the UK, because of course it was one of the ground zeros of the system, the dark system. The dark has been the same everywhere. But we know that there are a few places around the world, including Italy, including the United States, where the dark has definitely set up a nice little cocoon for themselves, even in a very visible way. And so I'm curious to see how the politics works out over there and how we're moving forward to the recall, because as I said before, if I have any say in it, which I do, it's going to happen. All right. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I want to thank you as always for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.